Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. Michael stared at his reflection in the mirror. His fingers trembled as they traced the edge of the silky fabric hanging in the closet. The dress, a deep burgundy with delicate lace trim, called to him like a siren song. He yearned to feel its soft caress against his skin, to twirl and watch the skirt billow around his legs. But he couldn't. Not anymore. With a heavy sigh, Michael shut the closet door, burying his desires along with the hidden garments. He had made a promise to Sarah, to himself, that this part of his life was over. The wedding band on his finger felt like a shackle, a constant reminder of the vows he'd taken and the life he'd committed to. "Honey, are you ready?" Sarah's voice drifted up the stairs, jolting Michael from his reverie.
"Just a minute,"
he called back, straightening his tie and plastering on a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. As he descended the stairs, Sarah beamed at him, her eyes sparkling with love and admiration. "You look so handsome," she cooed, straightening his lapel. "The Johnsons are going to be impressed." Michael nodded, swallowing the lump in his throat. He should feel lucky, he told himself. Sarah was beautiful, kind, and utterly devoted to him. What more could a man want? But as they drove to the dinner party, Michael couldn't shake the feeling that he was suffocating, trapped in a role he never truly wanted to play. The evening dragged on, a blur of small talk and forced laughter. Michael found himself drifting, his mind wandering to the secret stash of makeup hidden in the back of his drawer at home. How he longed to feel the sweep of mascara on his lashes, the velvety glide of lipstick across his lips. "Earth to Michael." Sarah's voice cut through his thoughts, her hand squeezing his thigh under the table. "Didn't you hear? The Johnsons were asking about our honeymoon." Michael blinked, forcing himself back to the present. Oh, yes, of course. It was magical. As he recounted their trip to Bali, Michael felt like he was describing someone else's life. The newlywed bliss, the romantic walks on the beach. It all felt hollow, a performance he was struggling to maintain. Later that night, as Sarah slept peacefully beside him, Michael lay awake, his mind a tumultuous storm of conflicting emotions. He loved Sarah, or at least he thought he did. But the gnawing emptiness inside him grew with each passing day. Weeks turned into months, and Michael threw himself into his work, desperate to distract himself from the growing discord within. He stayed late at the office, took on extra projects, anything to avoid the suffocating silence of their home. Sarah noticed, of course. How could she not? The distance between them grew, a chasm neither seemed able to bridge. "Michael, we need to talk," she said one evening, her voice laced with concern and a hint of frustration. "What's going on with you lately? You're never home, and when you are, you're not really here." Michael's heart raced, panic rising in his chest. "I'm sorry, I've just been swamped at work. You know how it gets sometimes." Sarah's eyes narrowed, unconvinced. "It's more than that. You've been different ever since we got married. It's like you're slipping away from me." The words hung heavy in the air between them. Michael opened his mouth to respond, to offer another excuse, but the lies died on his lips. He was tired of pretending, of burying his true self beneath layers of societal expectations.
"Sarah,
he began, his voice cracking. "There's something I need to tell you." The confession spilled out of him like a dam breaking. Years of suppressed desires, of hiding his true identity, came rushing to the surface. Michael told her everything about his lifelong struggle with gender identity, the secret stash of women's clothing, the overwhelming urge to express his feminine side. Sarah listened in stunned silence, her face a kaleidoscope of emotions: shock, confusion, anger, and finally a deep, gut-wrenching sadness. "How could you keep this from me?" she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "All this time? Our entire marriage? It's been a lie?" Michael reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "It wasn't a lie, Sarah. I do love you. I can't keep denying who I am anymore." The next few days were a blur of tears, arguments, and painful silences. Sarah oscillated between anger and bargaining, trying to find a way to salvage their marriage. "We can work through this," she pleaded. "Maybe therapy, or you can just keep it private, like before. We can make this work, Michael. We have to." But Michael knew, deep in his heart, that there was no going back. The floodgates had opened, and he wouldn't stuff his true self back into the closet. "I'm sorry, Sarah," he said softly, his heart breaking at the pain in her eyes. "But I can't live a lie anymore. It's not fair to you, and it's killing me inside." In the end, Sarah gave him an ultimatum: their marriage or his desire to live as a woman. With a heavy heart but a sense of liberation he'd never known before, Michael chose himself. The divorce was messy, painful, and left Michael feeling both liberated and utterly alone. He moved out of their shared home, renting a small apartment across town. For the first time in his adult life, he was free to explore his identity without fear of discovery or judgment. It started small, painting his nails, experimenting with makeup in the privacy of his new home. Each day he felt more like himself, more comfortable in his own skin. But the loneliness was crushing. He'd lost not just his wife, but most of their shared friends who couldn't understand his choices. Seeking connection and understanding, Michael hesitantly joined an online support group for transgender individuals. It was there that he first encountered Sue. Sue's profile picture showed a tall, elegant woman with kind eyes and a warm smile, but it was her words that truly captivated Michael. She shared her own journey of transition with raw honesty and humor, offering support and encouragement to others in the group. Michael found himself drawn to Sue's posts, eagerly awaiting her responses and insights. After weeks of interaction through the forum, he finally worked up the courage to send her a private message. "Your story is so inspiring," he wrote, fingers trembling as he hit send. "I'm just starting my journey, and I feel so lost. How did you find the strength to be true to yourself?" Sue's response came within hours, filled with warmth and understanding. "The strength was always there," she wrote. "It just took time to realize that living authentically is the greatest gift we can give ourselves and the world." Their correspondence blossomed, moving from the forum to text messages and eventually long late-night phone calls. Sue became Michael's confidant, his guide through the often confusing world of gender identity and transition. "Have you thought about a name?" Sue asked one evening, her voice soft and encouraging through the phone. Michael hesitated. I've always liked Amanda," he admitted, the name feeling both foreign and perfectly right on his lips. "Amanda," Sue repeated, and Michael could hear the smile in her voice. "It suits you. Strong, beautiful, full of potential." With Sue's unwavering support, Michael, now Amanda, began to take bolder steps in her transition. She started hormone therapy, watching with a mixture of excitement and trepidation as her body slowly began to change. The first time Amanda ventured out in public presenting as a woman, Sue was by her side. They met at a quiet cafe, Amanda's heart pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. "You look beautiful," Sue said, enveloping her in a warm hug. "How do you feel?" Amanda took a shaky breath, smoothing down her floral sundress. "Terrified," she admitted, "but also, right, like I'm finally letting the world see the real me." As they sat and talked over steaming lattes, Amanda felt a spark of something she hadn't experienced in years, genuine happiness. Sue's presence was a balm, soothing her anxieties and bolstering her confidence. Their friendship deepened, evolving into something neither had expected. The first time Sue's hand brushed against Amanda's, sending electricity shooting up her arm, Amanda realized her feelings had grown far beyond simple gratitude or platonic affection. "I think I'm falling for you," Amanda confessed one evening as they walked hand in hand through a moonlit park. Is that okay?" Sue stopped, turning to face Amanda with tears shimmering in her eyes. More than okay, she whispered, cupping Amanda's face gently. I've been falling for you since the moment we met. Their first kiss was soft, tentative, and filled with promise. As Sue's lips met hers, Amanda felt a sense of rightness, of coming home, that she'd never experienced before. With Sue's love and support, Amanda's journey of self-discovery accelerated. She found the courage to come out to her family, facing their initial shock and confusion with a strength she didn't know she possessed. Some relationships were strained, others surprisingly supportive, but through it all, Sue remained her rock. The decision to undergo gender confirmation surgery was not an easy one. Amanda spent months researching, consulting with doctors, and soul-searching. But as the date approached, she felt a growing sense of excitement and anticipation. "Are you sure about this?" Sue asked the night before the surgery, her eyes filled with love and concern. Amanda nodded, squeezing Sue's hand. "I've never been more sure of anything in my life. This is who I am, who I've always been. I'm ready to fully embrace it." The recovery was long and often painful, but Sue never left Amanda's side. She was there through the difficult days, the moments of doubt, and the small victories that marked Amanda's healing process. The day Amanda was finally able to look at herself in the mirror, fully nude and post-surgery, was a moment of profound emotion. Tears streamed down her face as she took in her reflection, no longer a stranger, but truly herself. "How do you feel?" Sue asked softly, wrapping her arms around Amanda from behind. Amanda leaned back into her embrace, a sense of peace washing over her. "Complete," she whispered, like the outside finally matches the inside. As Amanda continued to heal and grow into her authentic self, her relationship with Sue deepened. They moved in together, creating a home filled with love, acceptance, and joy. Amanda found a new career as a counselor, using her own experiences to help others navigate their journeys of self-discovery. Years passed, and Amanda marveled at the twists and turns her life had taken. The scared, conflicted person she'd once been seemed like a distant memory. In its place stood a confident, radiant woman, fully embracing every aspect of her identity. One sunny afternoon, as Amanda and Sue picnicked in the park where they'd shared their first kiss, Sue pulled out a small velvet box. "Amanda," she began, her voice thick with emotion, "you've shown me what it means to be brave, to be true to oneself no matter the cost. Your journey has inspired me, and your love has transformed me. Will you marry me?" Amanda's vision blurred with tears as she nodded, too overcome to speak. As Sue slipped the ring onto her finger, Amanda marveled at how far she'd come, from a life of secrets and shame to one filled with love, authenticity, and endless possibility. That evening, as they celebrated with friends and family, Amanda caught her reflection in a window. The woman staring back at her was radiant, confident, and utterly at peace. She smiled, recognizing not just her physical appearance, but the strength and resilience that had brought her to this moment. Life continued to unfold in beautiful and unexpected ways. Their wedding day arrived, a celebration of love and authenticity that brought tears to the eyes of even the most stoic guests. Amanda wore a flowing white gown that made her feel like a princess, while Sue opted for a sleek, tailored suit. They exchanged vows under an arch of rainbow flowers, symbolizing the journey that had brought them together. The years that followed were filled with both triumphs and challenges. Amanda's counseling practice flourished, and she became a respected voice in the transgender community. She wrote a memoir chronicling her journey, touching the lives of countless individuals struggling with their own identities. Sue's unwavering support remained a constant, her love a bedrock upon which Amanda built her new life. Together, they navigated the complexities of building a family. After much discussion and soul-searching, they decided to adopt. The process was long and often frustrating, but their perseverance paid off when they welcomed a beautiful baby girl into their lives. They named her Hope, a testament to the power of believing in oneself and the possibility of a brighter future. Parenthood brought new joys and challenges. Amanda found herself grappling with insecurities she thought she'd left behind. "Am I enough?" she whispered to Sue one night as they watched Hope sleep. "Can I be the mother she deserves?" Sue wrapped her arms around Amanda, her touch as comforting as ever. "You are more than enough," she assured her. "Your strength, your compassion, your journey, all of it makes you the perfect mother for our daughter." As Hope grew, so did Amanda's confidence in her role as a parent. She and Sue were determined to raise their daughter in a home filled with love, acceptance, and the freedom to be herself. They taught Hope about diversity, kindness, and the importance of standing up for what's right. When Hope was 5, she came home from school one day with a furrowed brow. "Mommy?" she asked Amanda. "Why did Tommy say I can't have 2 mommies?" Amanda's heart clenched, but she took a deep breath. She and Sue had prepared for moments like this. "Some families look different from others," she explained gently. "But what matters most is the love we have for each other. And our family has more than enough love to go around." Hope considered this for a moment, then nodded sagely.
I think I have the best family.
She declared, hugging Amanda tightly. As Hope grew into a confident, compassionate young woman, Amanda marveled at the resilience of children and the power of unconditional love. She thought back to the scared, conflicted person she'd once been, hiding behind a mask of masculinity. The journey hadn't been easy, but every step had led her to this moment, a life filled with authenticity, purpose, and more love than she'd ever dreamed possible. Amanda's relationship with her own family had evolved over the years. While some bonds remained strained, others had strengthened in unexpected ways. Her younger sister, initially shocked by Amanda's transition, had become one of her fiercest advocates. They grew closer than ever, their shared experiences as mothers bridging the gap that had once seemed insurmountable. Her parents' journey to acceptance had been slower, marked by misunderstandings and painful silences. But as they witnessed Amanda's happiness and the beautiful family she'd created, their hearts began to soften. The day her father called her Amanda for the first time, without hesitation or discomfort, was a moment of healing neither had thought possible. Amanda's work continued to evolve. She expanded her counseling practice to include support groups for families of transgender individuals. Watching parents and siblings navigate their own journeys of acceptance reminded Amanda of the ripple effect of living authentically. Every life touched, every mind opened, was a step toward a more inclusive world. Sue's career flourished as well. Her experiences supporting Amanda through her transition inspired her to become an advocate for LGBTQ+ rights in the corporate world. Together, they became a powerful force for change, speaking at conferences and working to create more inclusive policies in workplaces and schools. As they approached their 10th wedding anniversary, Amanda and Sue decided to renew their vows. This time, the celebration was even more joyous, a testament to the life they'd built together. Hope, now a teenager, stood proudly beside them, her eyes shining with love and admiration for her mothers. The ceremony was a reflection of how far they'd come. Amanda's parents sat in the front row, tears of joy streaming down their faces. Former colleagues who had once turned their backs now cheered and offered heartfelt congratulations. It was a day of love, yes, but also of redemption and the power of authenticity to change hearts and minds. That night, as the last of the guests departed and Hope headed to a sleepover with friends, Amanda and Sue found themselves alone on their back porch. The night was clear, a canopy of stars stretching out above them. Amanda leaned into Sue's embrace, feeling the familiar comfort of her wife's arms around her. "Can you believe how far we've come?" Amanda murmured, her voice filled with wonder. Sue pressed a kiss to Amanda's temple. "I always knew you were destined for greatness," she said softly. "From the moment I met you, I saw the strength inside you. You've changed so many lives, Amanda, starting with your own." Amanda turned in Sue's arms, meeting her gaze. The love she saw there was as strong and sure as it had been on their first date. "I couldn't have done any of it without you," she said. "You gave me the courage to be myself, to face the world as the woman I always knew I was." As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms under the starry sky, Amanda felt a profound sense of peace wash over her. The journey had been long and often difficult, but every step had led her here, to a life filled with love, purpose, and the joy of living as her true self. She thought of the frightened man she'd once been, staring at that burgundy dress in the closet, suffocating under the weight of societal expectations. That version of herself seemed like a distant memory now, a chrysalis left behind as she emerged into her true form. Amanda's life was far from perfect. There were still challenges to face, battles to be fought for equality and acceptance. But she was no longer fighting alone. She had Sue, hope, and a community of loved ones standing beside her. Together, they would continue to push for a world where everyone could live authentically, without fear or shame. As Sue led her back into the house, Amanda caught a glimpse of their reflection in the window. She saw two women, older now but still radiant with love and the quiet confidence that comes from living one's truth. And she knew with absolute certainty that this was exactly where she was meant to be. The path ahead was bright with possibility. There would be more lives to touch, more hearts to open, and always, always more love to give and receive. Amanda squeezed Sue's hand, feeling the answering pressure of her wife's fingers. Whatever the future held, they would face it together, two souls intertwined, stronger for the journey they'd shared. As they climbed the stairs to their bedroom, Amanda sent a silent prayer of gratitude to the universe, for the strength to embrace her true self, for the love that had sustained her, and for the beautiful life she now lived, not as Michael, the man she'd pretended to be, but as Amanda, the woman she'd always been destined to become. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.